So here is part 2 of our depth gauge drawing. Apologies, I only get a 15-minute limit on my videos now, so I've just had to do this as 2 separate bits. So we've got those on. We'll just do a little bit of tidying up on this drawing now. We mentioned before that this is something where they do snap to grid, but sometimes you do need to have them where you want to get them, and I need to get these measurements just a little bit tighter together, so I'm just going to have to notch these up a little bit. Again, sometimes if you zoom in, if you can't quite get it, it will allow you to position these a little bit more precisely as we're going. Now, there's other videos on the channel which show you how to do engineering drawings in more detail, so again, if you manage to get time or you finished what you're doing a little bit early, you can always look at one of those. Now, what we've also got on there is a little bit of text, so I'm just going to put some text just on here, and this one is going to have the word blank, and we'll pop the scale on there as per your drawing. Now, the default size for text is 3.5mm, which is relatively small in Inventor, so I'll just press escape. I'm going to double click back on that now. I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm just going to select that for 7. So 7 is usually a better size to use. It's different from your measurements, and then we can click and drag those around if we need to. We've got some for the other one as well. Now, what I'm going to try and do is get those in line if I can, so I'm going to just draw the box roughly where I want it to be, and this one is going to say gauge body. And again, we'll pop a scale on there of 2:1, not forgetting I've got to highlight it and just change it to a 7. So if you don't do that, you're going to get that smaller text again as we're doing it. So I'm just going to try and drag that so it's kind of in line with this other one, just to keep it looking nice. And again, if we need to space this differently, you know, we're not set in stone, we can change those. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that the lines line up, so again I might just need to zoom in and clicking from the red outline here in order to try and move these around a little bit, which is looking pretty good. Now, there's some other measurements on there. There's a block of text which is up here, so again, using that one. Now, this looks like it's in slightly smaller text, and one thing we've not talked about yet is the fact that most measurements and most text on an engine runner would be done in uppercase, so I've just put caps lock on there, and we'll try and type in marking and profile as shown below. So we've got some text on there. It looks like on my drawing that's centered. I'm not 100% why I've centered it, but we'll just do it because it's in there. And then we'll press OK. So by pressing escape, just get rid of your tool, I'll be able to drag this around. Again, if I'm not happy with 2 lines, I can get down to 3 lines, so I can shuffle this round kind of wherever I want to go. You could make the text a little bit bigger. There's nothing set in stone there. I'm just trying to, in this case, make it look like the drawing that you have got. So we mentioned a minute ago that these measurements don't quite look right, so these are all angles. The drawing that you've got in front of you, it kind of goes at an angle, then goes straight. So again, one of the conventions that we follow here in the UK is to have those so that they are horizontal and not at an angle or aligned to your shapes that you've got, or your part files that you've got on here. So in order to change that, we're going to go to manage. We're going to go back to that styles editor. This is the same place that we originally put it into third angle orthographic projection. And there's a couple of changes we're going to make here, so I'll try and do this slowish so we can get them. So I don't want the standard this time. I'm going to go into the one which is for dimension. Now, there's loads of things you can change in this. We really just need to change the third angle and in dimension. So I'm going to click onto where it says default ISO, and again I just need to use my little plus button there, or I can double click if I've got it over this side in order to load the bits up. So there's a few tabs here where we can change a variety of things, and what we'll try and do is just show you what's happening on the drawing as we go as best I can. So our units are in millimeters, but we don't use a comma as a decimal marker. We actually use the dots, or I've said to you before, Inventor's an American program, so they'd call that a period. And if I just press save now, if you just look on the screen, you'll notice that they will change to little dots. So they've gone from commas, which is more in keeping with the measurements that we use here. Now all my measurements are to 2 decimal places. Again, by default that's what it is, but on your drawing it's to 1 decimal place. So again, we can change the precision that we follow here. So this is to 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, 3. An Inventor will work up to a number of decimal points. So it's probably good practice just to change the linear one and the angle one at the same point. We've got no angle measurements on here, so we'll never see any of those, but we'll notice that the 2 zeros will disappear and we'll just get 1 0 once that is done in all those measurements. Okay, and I'm just using the save at the top. I'm not using the save and close, because then this box will go away and I'll need to open it again. So alternate units, I won't need any alternate units, but we won't want them in inches, so I'm just going to set those to the same as we had before, and again our linear format will just change to 1. That's only if there's another unit that's needed, and in inches it might be that we use 3 decimal places to be able to show that. So it's not going to change anything in our drawing in that case. Display, that shows where the dimensions are for this one. Now the only one I change here is the B, so I don't like the line touching the edge of my part file, because it kind of sometimes makes it look like the line is here and it's actually stops there and goes round. So I'm just going to put the same measurement into that, and if I just click in this upper box now and then press save, you'll notice that we've now got those gaps, so the measurement lines, the dimension lines aren't touching the shape, and it just to me looks that little bit nicer. Then we're going to go to text. Now this is the one where we're going to start changing these. So for my diameter and my radius, I don't want them looking like this aligned dimension here. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to do the opposite, which is horizontal. And I'm going to do the same for the radius. Now again, we've got no radiuses here, but we definitely have some diameters. And if I press save, these will start moving around. Now this one has done it. Just remember, we drew that one as a circle. We did this one using the tool for hole and thread, and I can't show you, but there was a tool called hole and thread where we did that one in. So tolerance we're going to leave, options we're going to leave, but in notes and leader, again we get that same box just here. If you just extend that down a little bit, it's this one here, so it's that aligned. We're going to move that to horizontal, so the hole and thread will use the notes and leaders style. So when we press save and close here, my other measurements have gone now. So I could have just pressed save. It was the last thing I was going to change, so I've just done save and close. Now if you want to move any of these around, we've got a little green dot here. If we drag it from the green dot, we can put it wherever. If you flip it past the vertical position, it'll flip over to the other side. So we kind of just putting these on so you're happy with them and you kind of like the layout of what you've got. So again, if this had now moved really close to an object, I just want a little bit of distance away from those. Now fortunately I can't change the line going through here. We've got to try and point to the circle that is there, or the hole that we've put in. So the arrows will always go across your work. So we're getting a page there now. Looks quite like what we are doing. There's actually one thing we're missing, which is the general tolerance down there. You're welcome to put that in if you want. Now that's us drawing done. This is only page 1. There is another page onto it which uses the threaded pin and the other little bit. So if we can get onto those, that would be fantastic. How do we do that? Well, I'm going to right click in my file. This is called Gauge Body, the drawing. I'm just going to right click there and I'm going to go New Sheet. So we've now got a second sheet which has been added. That second sheet still has the border and the title block in it, and we know it's got more than one sheet because it's now saying sheet 2 of 2, and if I double click back on this one now says 1 of 2. So we'll pop some stuff onto this this sheet, and this is for the pin and the gauge rod in this case. Now there's not too much on here in terms of components, so we'll click on base. We don't want the blank this time, so we're going to just browse and we're going to go onto the threaded pin. Now this is hopefully where it is going to be the case, that my front view of my pin is actually the top surface of it, and then if I move to the side it puts slightly different views than I've got on my sheet here. Maybe that's not kind of what we want. So if I just go File, Open, and open up my threaded pin, why is that doing it? Why is it seeing this one as the front? Well, it's seen as that one at the front because my front is indeed that view, and that's shown by my little cube, or the text on my cube there. So this is actually the bottom, this face, this one is the right hand view. So they're going to appear in our drawings. Now if we want to change that, let's say we wanted this one as the front view, which I think is what it's like in the drawing, although it's also, I think, a little bit upside down. I could set that as my front view, and this all comes back to the plane that you originally drew on. So I've made you all the time draw on the XY plane. If you draw on different planes, it will set a different front, bottom, right, left, top and back orientation to your drawing. So I'm going to click just in the center. I'm going to go set current view as front, and then I'm going to click on the little house button, and that's going to move it back. Now that's not really what we want there, because our front view, remember, is this one. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click onto the corner of the cube there, and I want that one to be the view that I'd see if I clicked onto the house. So again, with that one selected, I'm just going to right click, and this time rather than set current view, I'm going to set current view as home, and I'm going to click fit to view. So if I move off there now and I click on the little house, it now goes back to that position, which is the position that I really want on the case. Now we're getting on a little bit here. So the scale for these are 3:1. So we've got our front view of our shape. Sorry, I've clicked there. We'll just go back to it. So this time we'll click projected. We'll do a projected view and a projected view. Right click and create. So if you don't put all three views on in the first place, you can put your base view on, and then you can go to projected to do the other ones. Just need to remember that click and create, as I did a moment ago. Now I'll not waste a load of time putting measurements on, because you've seen what lots of those measurements are. In this case, our hole and thread will also do a thread. So we've got a thread on this little bit here, which gives us our M8 by times 1.25 designation. If I wanted a chamfer note, I could pop a little chamfer note on there, and again I've got a 1x45 here, so that will give me my 1x45. Now notice the measurements are already horizontal. It's the same drawing, we're just on page 2, so it's remembered all those drawings, all those styles of the dimensions that we've picked. Okay. Now the only thing I've kind of not shown you here is that on my drawing it's got a line just below the centre which splits this part from the part below. So how would we go about doing that? You know how to put the little notes on using text, so I can leave you to that, and you can put all the other measurements on there, because you'd kind of know how you were doing that from what we've done. So the line that splits it, we need to pop a sketch on here. So we're going to put a sketch. We're just going to go line. I'm going to click onto the face of this bit, and then I'm just going to draw a line, try and keep it nice and horizontal, and then I'm just going to draw a line just with sketch. Press escape, and when I click finish, I've got a separating line now between the little bits. So when I now go to place view, and I now browse for my gauge rod, okay, we can get this into position. Now again, although the first bit is okay at that, this is definitely going to need to be reduced in size. So I think I've actually got it the other way around here. So we can project this to the side so we get the length of the rod. And again, you can add the measurements and you can add the text to match the drawing that you've got. Just remember, when you've used projected, we'll just do it again just to be sure. We right click and then hit that create button in order to do that. So not going to just manage time to do the title block, so we'll just do that in the